Hey, what it do?
Ahoy!
What's up?
What
are you guys doing out there?
There's an old man in here with us.
Watching golf?
Yeah. I mean, really, we are watching golf, so it does make sense that we've brought in a retiree, if you will, to watch golf.
No respect.
Well, no, he's not in charge anymore.
He is until 5 p.m. today. Can you turn on his mic, Buck? Would that be something that would be helpful?
There's a red
Hey,
light.
look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Way to go, Ryan Buckley.
Well, I thought that the PD there would have the light in front of him, but I was
still
wrong.
Thinking about Hawaii and California and places like that.
That man right there.
Who hired that jackass?
The man
Twice.
behind the curtain. Jeff Baton Rouge in studio.
What's up?
Now,
Shamelessly going on every program. Like, I thought it was going to be special when we had him on, and it turns out he's just whoring himself out to whatever program will have him.
Brought to you by.
it's about time the fan had you on.
Yeah. Those golden pipes.
My God.
I've been holding back for the last, I don't know. If you'll recall, though, for a while there I was doing updates with you guys because I didn't think I had enough to do. So
Well, there was
Is
only,
that right?
yeah.
You don't
I don't
remember
remember.
Jeff doing updates?
No.
Well, there was only 4 of us here. That's the best part is that when Jeff came on board, the station was you, me, Swag, and then Jeff. There was 4 of us.
Well,
And I don't even know if Swag was full-time.
He was full time.
Was he full-time?
Yeah, you 3 were the only ones. Rust was working part time. We had Tim the Man Monis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite
Timmy
a cast.
Monis.
Yeah.
I actually got a
Timmy
text
Monis.
from Timmy the Man today.
He
It was
still
very
listens.
Nice. Yeah.
He's
He's
great.
We
character.
still use a couple of his opens.
So Jeff Austin here, our longtime leader and program director, is retiring.
Mm-hmm.
He is done, and today is his last day.
That's it.
So we thought we'd have you in to talk about your time, how great we are,
And that's really the key.
and how great the state. Well, and who you're passing the torch to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
You
not
know.
divulging that. And frankly, I don't know.
I don't think
So,
anyone knows.
Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, but the fans.
That's a
gonna be...
Ryan Cooley call right there.
So when did you get here? You had 2 stints at the fan.
The first stint was in 97 and 98, just fairly brief. Left because my wife, then my fiance, was back in Salt Lake City making a lot more money than I was, and we got pregnant, so it was time to do something. And came back in 2008. First day was May 12th, 2008.
Yeah.
when
So
I came back.
the first time you were here, so when did the station launch All Sports?
1990.
90. Okay. So
Yeah.
you were, so it was 7 or 8 years
It was
old.
still in its relative infancy.
One of the
yeah.
first on the West Coast, right? Like number
Second.
2? Second?
We're the longest running all sports station on the West Coast because Extra in San Diego went off the air for a while.
Yeah.
And CanBR in San Francisco wasn't all sports for a while. They were doing Rush Limbaugh until I think about 2001. So we're the oldest.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, how about
The
that?
cheese stands alone.
Well, listen,
That's
man,
right.
this is a great radio station.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, if you're new to this station, you don't know the history of this station. A lot of really great talent has come through here.
Yeah,
And you've been a big part of that. You've been here for, so you said 2008. So there's
17
plus 2
the
before.
other
I
two,
mean,
yeah.
20 of the, oh my God, what,
Oh, you're asking us to do
45, 35 years
35
of,
years now.
I mean,
math?
Yeah.
45, 35.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Sold.
You got to make it all 220, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Ready?
But I mean, you
Any
know,
better swing?
it's
Yeah.
sad to see you go.
Thank you.
We're sad to see you go. You did a good job.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's been it's not the easiest call to walk away, and yet it's the right call. You know, I mean, things are really good here right now. There are a lot of things that are going to become apparent, I think, here in the near future too. There's a tease that make it even a better place to be, and it's been fun. And I get to work with you guys. I mean,
You're welcome.
look, the reason we're here
Welcome to
right
our
now. Let's
greatness.
be honest. Every great station has to have a tent pole.
Ah.
So think of yourselves as a tent pole.
Thanks, Dirt and Sprague.
There you go.
Now, wait. So what did you think? So you came in 2008.
Yeah.
Suke and I had been on the air together for about 3 years.
Maybe not quite. I think.
Be
actually.
honest. What did
Yeah.
you think of our show?
First time I heard you guys, I was like, "What in the hell are these guys talking about? And why should I care?"
But also,
And then
I
I
think
got
I'm
it
awesome.
after a while. I started figuring it out. You know, I think it's one of those things. I remember, I can't remember who used to say this, but you know, you got to listen for a week and then you'll get it, right? I didn't even have to listen a week, but I started to understand what separated you from a lot of other people that I had worked with over the years, and I thought you were perfect for this market, and I think the station reflects what your style, and reflects what this town wants from a sports station. We're not going to sit here and talk about any one team 25 different ways on a daily basis.
Thank God.
No, who wants to do that, right? I mean,
lots of people.
It's incredible.
Unfortunately,
well, I know, but
several.
I think it's incredibly freeing if you can talk about whatever you want, whether it's any of the major local sports brands, or if something's fascinating in sports nationally, or something that has nothing to do with sports. To me, that's the kind of job I would want to do every day.
Well, and I'm always careful about remembering stuff from 17 years ago, right? Like your memory, you remember what you want to remember.
Yes.
But I do remember briefly, like when we first met, like, because we
went to lunch.
Yeah, we went to lunch. I think we were out at the what was that place on McAdams? It's still there.
We went to Buffalo Gap.
Buffalo Gap.
Yeah.
We were sitting at the Buffalo Gap.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I remember having a conversation, and I do remember you saying something to the effect of, I don't necessarily get you guys. and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. So I just want to listen for a bit before we said we'll circle back and we'll talk about it. And I do remember leaving that, appreciating that, because it was our fear, is because at the time, the idea of not taking calls, the idea of not leaning heavily into Blazers or local stuff was a bit like, we took a lot of flack for that. So I do remember that meeting, and when you came back and said you got it, I remember feeling very relieved, because it's scary when you get a new boss in,
of course,
and you're not certain. And then 17 years later, that respect, I think, between the three of us just kept growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, and I remember that. I had actually forgotten saying that at the time, but now that you say that, I remember. But
it just triggered you when you said at first you weren't quite certain. I remember you being honest and saying that.
I think I always wanted to be the kind of boss that I liked working for, which is give me professional independence. If I prove that I deserve the leash and I'm still growing and I'm improving, get out of my way, let me do my thing. And I think that's kind of what I've tried to do here. And, you want to give – and then after you guys and we started building, we were putting new shows on the air. It was like, okay, this is closer work, a little closer scrutiny. It's coaching. But then again, get out of the way. If you hire the right people, they're going to grow. They're going to figure it out, and let them do their thing. Because I've seen some very hands-on people in this business before, and those aren't the kind of people you want to work for, in my opinion.
I don't think you'd have either of us here if we had that.
No.
That's
don't blame me.
Not a joke. It's like, come on, man.
But I give you a lot of credit. I mean, like I said, you went from when the station was, I mean, dude, we were a laughing stock. I remember the first time the two of us beat KGON. And we thought that was going to be a great thing. And it turned out we got punished for it. The head of programming on KGON came in and tried to pee on us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad this was. Like, we were like an AM in the closet. No one gives a rip. And when we do something good, it's looked at as, what the F are you guys doing? And now, you have grown the station over the 17 years into an actual, real, functioning radio station where now we are no longer, we're in front and we're not.
We have. I mean, it's the collection of people, and it started with you guys, obviously, but it's built from there. But you're right. I mean, we were they used to call us the little engine that could, remember?
Or the engine that couldn't.
Or that couldn't, yeah. I mean, and now, I mean, like, if you look at this as a measure of success, and we've been a top 5 billing station in this market now for a few years in a row, and we keep going up.
And now you're walking away just when we've turned the corner.
I know,
you lazy sack.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be that.
Who was your first hire?
Dusty.
Really?
Yeah.
Fan man.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in here talking to Dusty and Will just a little while ago. First hire and most recent hire.
Yeah,
So,
Will.
Yeah.
Dusty first hire, Will the most recent.
Most recent, yeah.
And Will is turning out to be an all-star.
I like Will a lot.
He's excellent.
He's learning.
He's going to take Suke's job.
Well, that's what I keep hearing, but
or at least take his skin.
Murder me and wear my skin. I always thought that'd be swag with you, but it turns out not so fast.
It's, the great thing is we've got people here who I think all kind of fit in this place and have the same kind of overall philosophy about let's have some fun while we do this. Let's reflect the market. You know, we've talked about this before, whether it's Portland or the West Coast in general. There's just a different sensibility and a different, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just a way of looking at life. It's so different than the way sports radio sounds on the East Coast or parts of the Midwest. And I really enjoy being in Portland and being at the Fan. And I think the people who work here do too. And it would be really difficult to go to another market where it's all, you know, angry guy radio and you're talking about the same team 25 different ways and you got callers coming on and lighting other people up. And that's not
boring.
fun to me. Yeah.
Do you think that is antiquated, or do you think that
I do. I remember we used to judge the measure of success, and this was in another market, but we'd be given high fives in the hallway. Hey, we took 85 calls today. You know, that was how, but that was when sports radio was in its infancy. I mean, we're talking the 90s.
You've seen the kind of the evolution. You were there at the beginning, and kind of now moved into an entirely different world of it.
But you think in those major markets like that, or just maybe a little bit more sportsy markets, do you think sports radio will shift to sort of?
It already has to some degree, less of the phone calls being taken. But I mean, like today, I read a column by a guy who thought that phone calls were still necessary. You just had to do a really good job of coaching the callers as a producer, right?
Well,
that was already the case.
Yeah,
that doesn't change anything to me. We already did it that way. And
it's not that we didn't want to take calls. It's that if you're going to take calls, you have to prepare the caller, and you have to it's got to fit into the show, and you can do that. There's a lot of work you have to do behind the scenes in order to put that on the air, and we didn't have anybody to do that.
Right.
So then it became a free-for-all, and it's, that's worthless. Who the hell wants that?
We heard from a lot of people who were like, I don't care what Joe Bob in whatever town has to say. I'm tuning in to listen to Isaac Suke or Danny and Dusty or listening to Dirt and Sprague. That's why they're listening. And we had maybe 2 or 3 regular callers who were not happy about it. But, with previous hosts, too, I'm sure you heard this before. Sometimes those guys would get on and just bloviate for 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just not, go get a podcast.
Kermit used to take calls for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just talk to the same guy for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm so, what? At the time, great. But now that's not what people want.
Yeah.
There's too many options.
I mean, it's that's the Feinbaum model. And, again, it's there's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat. But I'm glad that we are not forced to go down that. And that was one of the things I always I tip my cat. I think we've all have evolved. I mean, I think as you've gone through 20 years, what's the biggest change you've seen from when you started versus now when you're walking out of here?
Well, we're just, it's a cliche, but we're a multi-platform station now. It used to be what's coming out of the speaker, and that was it. Yeah. Now we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube. I mean, it's, Twitch, and it's all that. So you got to live where your listeners live, and then try to be as interesting as possible every day when you come in here on all those platforms. That's the biggest change.
Well, I would like to say you were supportive and you were steady. And that was it's greatly appreciated.
Well, feelings mutual.
You did a great job. You were a great leader, and the station is going to be worse off with you gone. I mean, you did a great job.
I don't know about that. I think I teased it before, but there's some really great stuff coming for the Fan. I think it's going to be even better. It's actually, having been here 17 years, it's a great time to get, the proverbial fresh set of eyes and ears in here, and, maybe make some changes. That's one thing I learned early on was if you don't change and evolve, you're going to be irrelevant. I saw some veterans when I first got into radio who washed out, went from like sportscaster of the year to out on the streets because they wouldn't change.
Yeah.
Well, let the Fan change.
Well, you have an hour and 45 minutes left still. I mean, you could make some changes.
There is time. I think Will's probably still around here somewhere. I think he lives in the basement. He's like the fan of the
Klondike
opera.
Will Ortner.
Yeah, he doesn't go anywhere.
That's right.
Well, and I think about too, like how many people have come along over the years, different stations that launched and said, well, you're going to be out of business in 2 weeks. And, you know, I just, all that noise that's coming. We had so many people that would come in and try to attack us. And I do remember, again, going back to what Rob said, you were a steady hand. I was like a baseball manager, right? You sets the tone for the clubhouse. And I thought you always set a great tone, and you've always had my respect of the utmost.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was two things. One, it was you guys and all the others who create the content on the station. But we also had some great salespeople and sales managers, too. You can do all the great radio you want, but if you don't have people who are out there humping it every day, trying to make the money for you, I could say that.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm on the way
Yeah,
out of here.
He's short.
But
no, I mean, you know,
it's
it's
hour and a half.
you gotta have the revenue coming in too, and that's why we were able to become why we are where we are now. So
Take that, FMs.
Suck it.
Well, what's the plan? What's your life going to be like now? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Well, I think we're going back east because it pencils out as a retiree, not getting your retirement income tax, having to downsize and buy another house, all those things that go with it, you know.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I'm going back probably to North Carolina where I grew up, and the family likes it there too. All things being equal, we probably would have stayed in the Northwest because we love it here, but we'll still come back.
Back to the roots.
I can see you there on keeping score on the third baseline of a Durham Bulls game.
Hell yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of options in that area. So much college sports, some professional sports. We're looking at areas of Virginia too, frankly, but there's so much to do in a small radius from a sports fan standpoint, and I won't have to work on Saturdays anymore. First time in 31 years.
Getting that big Walmart greeter job, are you? You're gonna be wearing.
Welcome to Walmart. Yes. May I see your receipt?
Gonna be wearing that vest.
You just need to be a starter at a golf course.
I could see.
Or a marshal.
Yeah.
A marshal.
Because then you get free golf.
Yeah, you guys stop monkeying around.
Yeah, you don't get paid, but you do get free golf. My dad did that when he shut it down. He went and just worked a couple days a week at a golf course simply to play free golf.
I'm not planning to do anything in the workplace.
Good for you.
Sorry.
Just done.
I'm done.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
I
hey,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
You leave behind
Both.
a great radio station.
And
so hopefully.
thank you, Buck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you know.
Hired me twice.
Oh, yeah. He
did.
Wait, you hired Buck twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I left for TV and I came back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. He left, and then he was a house husband for a little bit, and then he was sitting on the sidelines, and
Wow.
that was when when Lynch left us, and then we needed. You know, you've hired several producers for this program. We've been through a lot of those.
Well, I didn't fire Mike, of course. Mike went over and did, as did Travis, great
Blazers.
things for the Blazers.
That's
know?
right.
Look at the people. I mean,
Oh, my God.
that
Yeah.
high school football broadcast we had Demers doing play-by-play. We had guys like Brett Elliott and Andrew Nemec doing color. Swag was doing the halftime show. Dusty was on the sidelines. Now
We've had a lot of people come.
now
through.
look
You
where they
mentioned-
are. It's
yeah,
great.
Like Scott Masteller, you know, was here and
He
went
was
on.
like
my
a-
boss the first time.
He's like a programming legend.
Yep.
He is.
Colin Cowherd, some people may not know, Colin Cowherd was
Started
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Lund.
John Lund.
and Ian Furness. And,
Ian,
Dave Shore.
Dave
all
Shore,
kinds
Bill
of people have been in-
Jackson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to think, Kermit Washington.
Yep.
Michael
Michael Thompson, of
the
course.
late Dream, Michael Thompson.
Yep.
The late
Dreamweaver.
Dreamweaver.
Yes.
Well, and a lot of the
yes.
people that are on other stations here in the market still, in fact, most of them started here.
Yeah.
Most of them started, I think almost everyone.
Gavin was here, right?
Gavin.
Gavin.
And,
He's
Chad.
in Dallas.
Yeah.
Chad.
Yeah, we've
all
had a
those-
lot. We've been fortunate. I mean, there has been a lot of talent through this station over
Yeah.
the years. We're
And-
really lucky.
And we're kind of the ones that are just, we're
Still here.
Still here.
Holding it up.
Yeah.
Doing a great job.
Well,
Rob,
man,
the
You'll
old
be missed.
tentpole Isaac Rob.
I'll still be
right.
listening, by the way.
why?
You know, why? Because I want to. That's the thing. If I didn't like
Ah.
listening to my station, I shouldn't have a job.
I
right?
bet he's listening on their app that he's always telling us about.
Yeah.
I will say you did listen to the station. Like you.
That's the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it was
but we've had PDs that did not.
Yes.
Well,
and
that-
just
they're not
people
doing
in
their
general.
job.
So yeah, it was always when you would chime in with something like, oh damn,
He's listening.
Dude's listen. Kept us on our toes, like oh, or we say something we're like, yeah, hope the boss isn't listening to that one. Like,
No, and you know what? I experienced this too, but everybody out there knows it. There's nothing worse than the commute in this town. And even if there's nothing, you know, don't think that what you're doing here isn't doing a public service, because it really, you know, people have a bad day. They have a crappy boss. They're having a fight with a wife. The commute sucks. They get to listen to us, and we make their lives better. And I think that's a public service.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
Enjoy retirement.
Thank you.
Jeff Austin, program director at The Fan, after 17 years, is dead.
Tip of the cap. Well, we killed a lot of people on this program over the years. So I think we make a report next week that Jeff has died in a tragic, tragic school bus accident on his way back to Durham,
Zoo
North Carolina.
accident.
There you go.
Yeah, it's got to be an animal
Tiger
uprising. yeah.
Mike Parker was here, too.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike's great.
We're leaving out a lot of Mark Amazon. We're leaving
Yeah.
out a lot of. There were a lot of names.
Well,
There's
the
so
game,
many, you're not going to get them all.
I know.
That's the thing. And I know I'm leaving
Cool
somebody
history.
out, but
Cool history. All right. Well, good luck to you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on. Who will be the new PD at The Fan? Who knows?
Ooh.
Stay tuned to find out.
We're doing some sort of contest.
We might.
Yeah. Survivor.
I mean, Lord knows.
Hunt for the PD.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wait for the new boss to tell Isaac what to do for the first time, and then we all get surprised when Rob doesn't do it.